The pharmaceutical company Gilead Sciences, based in Foster City, California, announced earlier this year results from their Discover trial. This was a phase 3 randomized controlled double-blind study to assess the safety and efficacy of utilizing one of their newer drugs, Descovy, as a new once-daily pill option for pre-exposure prophylaxis for at-risk individuals of HIV infection. Human immunodeficiency virus. Growing up in the early 2000s, this was the disease that was talked about endlessly in every school health class I endured during puberty. Got chlamydia? That sucks. Herpes? Sad. But HIV? That one was no joke. The mass death of individuals throughout the 80s and early 90s during the height of the AIDS epidemic was our in-class lesson the very day we were given our own abstinence pledges to sign. HIV is a retrovirus, a collection of viral RNA and reverse transcription enzymes packaged in a glycoprotein coat. The glycoproteins in the virus can target and bind a host cell's membrane receptors to inject the contents of its core into the host cell's cytoplasm. Once inside the host, the reverse transcriptase enzymes literally reverse the process of transcription on the viral RNA. Then that viral DNA is integrated into the host's own DNA. HIV actually incorporates its DNA inside of your genome. And the host for HIV is the CD4 T cell, a white blood cell uniquely identifiable in the body by its own CD4 glycoproteins on the cell's surface. Dr. He Jiankui, a Chinese scientist, publicly claimed the birth of 2 twins as the very first ever gene-edited humans in the world. Specifically, Dr. He and his team used CRISPR-Cas9 genome-mediated therapy to delete the functionality of a gene called CCR5 in the human embryos. A tiny portion of individuals of European descent were found to have some innate resistance to HIV infection, even while engaging in very high-risk lifestyles. As it turns out, these individuals had all inherited a genetic mutation of a 32 base pair deletion in the gene CCR5. As fate would have it, acts as a necessary co-receptor that binds HIV after the virus attaches to the CD4 receptor to draw the virus in for fusion with the host membrane. Therefore, the individuals with the CCR5 delta 32 deletion mutation were expressing HIV resistance because their CD4 cells were missing this co-receptor HIV needed to grab onto to get inside of the cells. Currently, NIH projects are using fetal tissues as models for research into the development of cures or vaccines for Zika and for HIV. The Trump administration on Wednesday, June 5th, announced that the National Institutes of Health would no longer be funding research that required fetal tissue from elective abortions. With this research ban going into effect, all of this fetal tissue will be considered medical waste. It will literally be incinerated. Truvada has a cost of production that equates to approximately $6, but the uninsured cost to consumers by Gilead Sciences is around $2,000 a month. While antiretroviral drugs have been extremely vital in preventing the onset of AIDS and the further spread of HIV, it remains at best a lifetime treatment. We are so unfathomably close to a cure to HIV. We've learned so much about how the virus has worked. It's the middle of Pride Month, and the disease went from being advertised as gay cancer in American newspapers to being one of the most researched and well-understood viruses in our country. Scientists working in collaboration from Temple University and the University of Nebraska Medical Center have completely eradicated HIV DNA from living mammalian systems. In other words, they done cured HIV, and they did it by using a combination of antiretroviral therapy with CRISPR technology. Knocking out both genes in these cells resulted in significantly reduced HIV. Beyond that, because these cells show resistance to HIV infection, they're positively selected for in an HIV patient, meaning that over time, these immune CD4s proliferate and outcompete the dying off susceptible CD4s, lowering the proportion of viable hosts for HIV to infect. Yeah! Over time, as you take antiretroviral therapy, your viral load count will go down. And once it gets low enough, you become undetectable. And you might have heard this thing called undetectable equals untransmittable. Once you have an undetectable level, you can no longer transmit the virus to other people because you are not producing the virus. You are not actively making the virus is not circulating your body, you can't pass it on. The cure to HIV is probably going to be one of the greatest scientific achievements that will make worldwide news, that will probably happen in our lifetime. And so all of this exciting research that's getting us closer and closer and closer and closer to those steps is really awesome. Thank you guys for watching, and stay inquisitive. Bye.